Reborn, I returned to the day he promised to look after me, but I'm not the same pawn anymore. I traveled back to the day he confessed his love to me. Sebastian said, Elara, be my girl. Let me look after you. He kept his word for the next 8 years. He treated me wonderfully. He was my boyfriend for 6 years, then my husband. For 2, nearly becoming a father before it all ended. Tragically, I went into premature labor and died on the operating table along with our child. In my final moments, Sebastian clutched my hand with bloodshot eyes. He begged, you can't die. You can't leave me alone. If even you're gone, what am I supposed to do? Part 1. I thought I was dead. But when I opened my eyes, there he was. Sebastian. Still with that youthful innocence on his face, he said, Elara, be my girl. Let me look after you. His tone was flat, his expression indifferent, with neither anticipation nor nervousness in his eyes. This didn't feel like a confession, more like he was checking off a task because he didn't love me. The woman he loves is my sister, and my sister is dying. I'm the only one she can't let go of. So, Sebastian took me, this burden, upon himself, and carried me for 8 long years. Looking at him now, I suddenly remembered what his friend asked during our wedding. Is this really necessary? Her sister's been gone for 5 years. Are you seriously going to throw away your entire life for this? Sebastian took a drag of his cigarette, exhaling slowly through the haze. A promise is a promise, he said. Not a single minute less. That was his vow to my sister. Don't worry, I'll take good care of Elara for the rest of my life. I let out a long sigh in my past life. I lived exactly as everyone expected me to. Given a second chance, things should be different this time. Seb, it's really not necessary. I can take care of myself. No need to trouble you. Sebastian seemed taken aback by my refusal. His brows knitted tightly as he fixed me with a heavy gaze. He was about to say something when I cut him off. Seb, I'm going to see my sister. Are you coming? Sebastian rubbed his thumb against his middle finger, a telltale sign of his nicotine craving. You go ahead. I'll catch up later. 2. I'm 18 now. Just starting my final year of 6th form. The A-level exams are less than a year away. In my past life, I missed the A-levels. My sister passed away 3 months before my exams. My mother hysterically tore up all my textbooks. Have you no heart? With one gone, how can you still focus on studying? Why are you still alive when one is already gone? During the exam days, she locked me inside the house. She said, Clara's greatest regret in life was missing her exams. Since you can't do anything for her now, don't make her. Grief from heaven, too. Truth be told, I thought she wanted me dead at that time. Not only did she lock me in, but she also deprived me of food and water. In the end, Sebastian barged in and took me away. To be honest, I wasn't ready to face them again. So, I hid in the corner until my mother left my sister's hospital room before going in. Sebastian was inside. His face darkened when he saw me. Where have you been? Why are you so late? I ignored him, staring intently at my sister instead. A surge of warmth rose from my chest, reaching all the way to my eyes. 7 years. I've missed her so much. She gave Sebastian a light tap and pouted. What's with the attitude? Then she waved at me. Come here, Elara. Here. Big sister got sweets for you. Don't be scared. Big sister's got you. Come here. Let me give you a hug. Oh, Elara, if I leave, what will become of my precious girl? I hurried over and knelt. By her bedside, I reached out and gently wrapped my arms around her slender waist. I buried my face in her lap. Tears finally spilled uncontrollably down my cheeks. I sobbed quietly as if overwhelmed by some profound injustice. What's wrong, Elara? Who's been mean to you? Don't cry, Elara. Tell me what happened. Don't be scared, Elara. I'm right here with you. 3. My name is Elara, given by my sister like resilient wild heather. It symbolizes vitality. My sister is named Clara and I exist for her sake. My sister was diagnosed with leukemia at age 6 inches our country. Over 1 million blood disease patients await hematopoietic stem cell transplants annually. Yet only 0.03% receive treatment each year. Clara wasn't among them as a last resort. Doctors suggested the parents conceive another child to use the newborn's cord blood for bone marrow matching. The doctor said the matching success rate is very high. While the doctor said very high, to the parents, it sounded like absolute certainty they made this choice without hesitation. After 10 months of pregnancy and the pains of childbirth, the one who came into this world was me. Everyone was waiting with bated breath, hearts pounding with anticipation, but the matching failed, making the transplant surgery impossible. A useless child was born. The child born for Clara was worthless. In utter despair, the mother suffered a hemorrhage. Her body was severely damaged and could no longer bear children. Fortunately, a successful stem cell match for Clara was found in the cord blood bank. 6 months later, Clara was saved. What a relief. Otherwise, her mother would have died. She once said, "If Clara dies, I won't be able to go on living. As for me, just a worthless piece of trash 18 years ago." My umbilical cord blood was a failed match 18 years later. My kidney proved incompatible yet again. Clara is dying for her sister kicked Sebastian out. She gently pried me from her embrace, dabbing my tears away. She whispered, "Is this about Seb?" He told me. He confessed his feelings. But you turned him down. You want Seb to take care of you? You know Seb would treat you right. Of course, I know in this world when danger strikes, Sebastian is the only one who'd shield me without hesitation. He's been picking me up from school since primary, rain or shine, even if he was late or skipping class himself. He'd never leave me behind. He'd throw punches for me. He'd tell everyone she's my sister. Nobody touches her. When I fell, he carried me on his back when I got sick. He took care of me. I was hungry, so he cooked for me. He even explained menstruation to me when I had my first period. Once when he was drunk, he poked my forehead and grumbled, "Bloody hell, I got myself a kid without even trying." He said, "Alara, I raised you with my own hands." Sebastian raised me. I know his kindness wasn't just because of Clara's request. He genuinely treats me like a little sister. Seb is family. Sis, I love having him as my big brother. My sister gave me a complicated look. I'll take care of you forever. Only your life partner can do that. I averted my gaze and lowered my head, but he's my brother. After a long silence, my sister sighed. "Ah, I was being too hasty." "Never mind. You two can take your time. He'll always take good care of you." I murmured a vague acknowledgement. "Sis, can I come see you every day?" Her eyes lit up briefly before dimming again. "Don't trouble yourself. Just focus on your studies." My parents didn't want me appearing in front of my sister too often. Mother said, "What are you going there for?" "To upset Clara. Do you think seeing you healthy and active would make her happy?" My sister said she was happy and wanted to see me, but our parents wouldn't believe it. They stubbornly insisted that every time my sister stood up for me, she was actually sacrificing her own happiness. They wouldn't tolerate Clara suffering any injustice because of Alara. "Oh dear, these grades of yours." She poked my forehead. "Little one, do you even stand a chance at university?" "My grades aren't great to be honest. They're pretty bad." At least on the surface, I hunched my shoulders and asked with a grin. "Sis, which university do you want me to go to?" She blurted out without thinking. "The best one, of course." Realizing what she'd said, she quickly backtracked. "Just do your best. No pressure. We'll go with whatever school you can get into." Mid-conversation, the hospital room door suddenly swung open behind us. Clara, that voice, both familiar and foreign, came rushing in. Familiar because it was Mother's voice. It felt unfamiliar because I hadn't heard it in 6 years. Mother kept her promise. She couldn't live without Clara. She held on for a year before ending her life. I was completely at a loss when I heard the news. I didn't know how to process this emotionally. Perhaps she was only ever Clara's mother. Nothing more. She walked right past me as if I were invisible. She hurried over to adjust the hospital bed's height. Lowering her voice gently, she said, "Why are you sitting up? Lie down and rest. Aren't you tired?" Her sister sighed helplessly. "Mum, I'm fine. Didn't you go home to cook? Why are you back so soon?" Her mother replied, "Your father called and said he'd bring it over." "Is Dad back from his business trip?" "Yeah, he said he brought you a present." "That's great." Mom cut her off. She said quietly, "Seb, thank you for visiting Clara. But she needs rest now. You should head back first." Not once did her gaze meet mine the entire time. I thought I'd grown accustomed to it. Yet this time the air felt suffocating. I stood frozen in place until a large hand enveloped my clenched fist. "It's Seb," he said. "Auntie, I'm taking Elle." I've known since childhood that my parents didn't like me, even before realizing my parents didn't like me. I knew my grandparents didn't either, perhaps because I'd never been loved since childhood. I returned to them without any expectations. My mother had many demands for me, like not being allowed to wear pretty or colorful clothes, for instance. No snacks are allowed besides staple food, like never being permitted to smile, such as being forbidden to excel in studies as sisters born of the same mother. While Clara suffers in sickness, Alara mustn't thrive. Let's deepen Clara's sorrow. "What's wrong with you today, Seb?" Sebastian studied me intently. I shook my head. "Brother Seb, can I move in with you?" Ever since Sebastian graduated and started working, he'd been renting his own place. He did offer to let me stay with him before, but I turned him down. I can just imagine what they'd say if I moved out, but this time, no matter what they say, I have to move out. Sebastian froze for a moment. He asked in a low voice, "Elara, what exactly happened? Who's been giving you trouble?" I shook my head and pressed. "Is that not allowed?" Sebastian remained silent for a long moment before finally sighing. He nudged me forward. "Come on, let's go move your things." Though we called it moving, I didn't have much, just some books and a few changes of clothes. Sebastian's brow remained furrowed from the moment we started packing. When we finally left, he snapped impatiently. "Let's go to the high street." This time, I didn't refuse. "Thanks, Seb." His expression softened at last. "Come on, let's get our Alara some pretty clothes." Sebastian was in high spirits. He took me clothes shopping, treated me to a nice bistro dinner, then stocked me up with snacks and daily necessities at the supermarket. It's been so long since I last felt this comfortable around him in our past life. He confessed his feelings and I said yes, but after that, things were never the same between us. The shift in our relationship left us awkward and unsure how to act, dragging through an uncomfortable stretch of time. So, after all, he was meant to be my brother 6. The next day, I went to the hospital wearing the dress Sebastian bought for me. My sister looked at me in astonishment, her eyes holding an expression I'd never seen before. "Beautiful. Elara looks absolutely stunning. Sebastian bought this for you. The man's got taste." My sister held my hand as she carefully retrieved a box of chocolates from beneath the pillow just like in my past life. "Elle, try this. People say it's the best chocolate. I never got to taste it last time." My parents' teachings made me never dare to eat anything in front of my sister. So in my past life, I brought it home. My mother found out. She slapped me through tears. "Elara, is this food worth dying for? Making Clara lie to Dad for your snacks. Do you realize this box of chocolate costs as much as Clara's private treatment session?" Thinking back on those days, I don't feel particularly emotional. I unwrapped a piece of chocolate and popped it into my mouth. Sweet with a hint of bitterness, rich and smooth. I nodded with a smile. Delicious. My sister's eyes crinkled with amusement. "Leave it with Seb and ask him whenever you want some." "I'd rather leave it with you," I said. "But sis, I want to drop out of school." My sister stared at me in shock. "What did you say? Did something happen at school?" I shook my head. "I want to stay at the hospital with you. Then you can come after school." "Not enough." My sister seemed to have an idea. She looked at me sadly. Elle, you need to follow your own path. Study hard, get into university, and leave this household with a strained smile. She added, Mom and Dad will take care of me here. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine, I insisted. I'm only taking half a year off. I'll study on my own and take the A-levels. Smiling, I said, I'll come back with top marks for you. Okay. My sister wasn't smiling. Her expression was grave. Elle, what's really going on with you? You're making me so worried these past 2 days. All I've been hearing is, what's wrong with you? I lowered my eyes. I just don't think I'm wrong. I want to be with you, to see you every day, to look after you. My sister fell silent after a long pause. She took my hand and said firmly, all right, we'll be together every day. 7. Mom arrived sooner than we expected. Her already sour expression darkened further when she saw what I was wearing, but she forced a smile and told my sister, Clara, go rest first. I need to talk to Alara. My sister held on tight. What's wrong? What happened? It's fine. Don't worry. She turned to me. Alara, come with me, Mum. Elle isn't going anywhere. Whatever you have to say it here. Clara, be good. Her tone sharpened. Alara, come with me. Must you disturb your sister's rest? My sister started to speak again, but I gave her hand a gentle squeeze. What did you want to talk about? I asked. Is it about me moving out, visiting my sister, or wearing new clothes? Alara, mother hissed. Shacking up with a man at such a young age. Have you no shame? Mum, how could you say that? It's Seb. He's like a real brother to Alara. A real brother. Mother sneered. Are you blood related? We're not blood related, I said. But I'll be staying there for a while. I've already filed for a leave of absence from school starting today. I'll be coming to the hospital daily to look after my sister. I won't allow this. Mother's voice suddenly sharpened. You move back home this instant and focus on your studies. Clara is still ill. What kind of nonsense are you pulling? Looking at her, I said calmly. I'm not asking for your permission. I'm informing you. Alara. What exactly are you trying to do? Enough? My sister's frail voice cut through sharply, her face deathly pale as she swayed unsteadily. Clara, what's wrong? Mother asked with visible concern, her hands trembling slightly as she looked helplessly at my sister. Mum, I don't have much time left. Please let Alara stay with me, just this once, won't you? Mother's eyes welled up. Clara. What nonsense are you saying? Not much time. What are you trying to do? Stab your own mother through the heart. Mum, please promise me this one thing. Okay, I promise. Sweetheart. I'll promise you anything. Just don't say such things. I can't bear it. I just can't. After all the commotion, my sister soon fell asleep. Mother gently stroked her forehead before tucking in the blanket corners. She turned her head and glared at me coldly. Alara, you're getting back at me, aren't you? What? I froze, never expecting her to say something like that. You're using Clara to hurt me. Seeing her suffer makes me suffer. Does that make you happy? I suddenly burst out laughing. In my past life, the therapist asked me, do you resent your parents? I shook my head and said, no. She asked me why. I said, I understand. To them, my sister was their real child. I was just born to prolong her life. But things didn't go as planned, and I let them down. Nobody's perfect when extreme hope meets crushing despair. That kind of naturally leads to irrational actions. Everything they did to me afterward was just their deluded way of believing it would help my sister. They never realized it was wrong. I even enthusiastically explained to her. This pattern is actually quite common. Like when parents physically punish their kids, once they start, it never stops. And the beatings only get worse. Do you know why? Because in parent-child dynamics, parents hold absolute power. There's no consequence for how they treat their children. No downside, just results. Why wouldn't they keep doing it? Absolute power means absolute tyranny. They never even knew they were wrong back then. The therapist's gaze held nothing but heartache when she looked at me later. I overheard her telling Sebastian over the phone that I had chosen emotional detachment under extreme suffering. I didn't agree with that, but looking back now, perhaps I was the one who got it wrong. She accused me of retaliating against her, so she knew her actions would breed resentment in me. It suddenly dawned on me, since we're both reasonable people, we can talk this through rationally, I said. A healthy adult male typically ejaculates 2 to 6 milliliters of semen containing over 60 million sperm per milliliter. That means each ejaculation releases 120 to 360 million sperm, with over 60% being motile. Approximately 72 to 216 million, taking the median, that's about 150 million viable sperm. A healthy adult female typically releases 1 egg per cycle, occasionally 2 or 3. Taking the average, let's say 2 eggs. Under these circumstances, the probability of any single sperm fertilizing an egg is about 1 in 75 million. What nonsense are you spouting? My mother interrupted. I continued. Of course, that's an ideal scenario. What I'm trying to say is, if I had been conceived even a day earlier or later, a minute earlier or later, or if it had been a different sperm and a different egg that combined, I simply wouldn't be me. Being born to you wasn't my choice. My genetic makeup was given to me by you. It was the result of your sperm and egg combining against 1,000,000 to 1 odds. I am innocent. The blame does not fall on me. 8. My sister's leukemia relapsed when I was 8. She was rushed into the emergency room and my mother knelt, praying. I just huddled, trembling. In a corner, my father held my mother close as she sobbed uncontrollably. Why was it her? If only it had been any other child. Clara wouldn't have suffered like this. Why her? Why did it have to be her? She's just God's way of tormenting us, isn't she? Why does everyone else's cord blood work, but hers doesn't? Why did I have to give birth to her? That was the first time I had ever faced my mother's hatred so directly. Even though I was used to their coldness, I still felt a pang of sadness at that moment. Then, Sebastian arrived. He covered my ears and pulled me into his embrace. His warm hug melted the chill that had settled in my bones. He whispered, Elara, don't listen. I'm here with you. 9. And my defiance seemed to have deeply shaken my mother. Eventually, we reached a compromise. I'd visit my sister daily, but at different times than her, she agreed. None of us want to see our sister caught in the middle of our conflict. As for me and them, some differences are simply irreconcilable. After leaving the hospital, I went back to my rented apartment. Sebastian hadn't returned yet, so I took some vegetables from the fridge and started cooking dinner. Just as the final dish was ready, the front door swung open from outside. Seb, dinner's ready, Sebastian asked casually while changing his shoes. Take away. I cooked it myself. Sebastian was incredulous. You can cook. How come I never knew that? Of course, he wouldn't know. After all, it's a skill I picked up in my previous life. I mumbled vaguely. I've always been able to. All right, let's eat. Sebastian gently ruffled my hair. A look of tender concern on his face, as if something had just occurred to him. All right, let's eat. From now on, if you feel like cooking, go for it. If not, we can always eat out. Got it. Make sure to cook more of what you love. You're a fan of spicy food, aren't you? There's not a single spicy dish on this table. I swallowed my food and declared health. Sebastian chuckled. Rarely, how rare to hear those words from you. I smiled without responding. He sighed. Good. Then you need to put on some weight. You're too thin. My life settled into a routine like this every morning. I'd get up and go for a run, then bring Sebastian some breakfast. As for my own, I just make it at home one time. Sebastian curiously took a bite of mine. His face was a mix of emotions. Tasty, I replied. Healthy, he shook his head. I'll never understand what goes through kids' minds these days. After breakfast, I dove straight into practice problems. Heading to the hospital in an hour and a half, staying until 12:30 p.m., that's the time slot they've given me. I often bring a book to read to my sister, then take her for a stroll in the garden downstairs. Sometimes I run into familiar doctors, nurses, or other patients. They asked who I was. My sister said, "This is my little sister." "Your sister's so pretty." My sister nodded proudly. "Damn right. I'd leave before Mom brings lunch for my sister at noon." My sister always gets visibly down whenever this happens. She wishes I could get along with our parents harmoniously. But after years of trying, she's come to accept it's beyond her power. I could only comfort her. "I'm not sad at all. Getting to see you every day makes me genuinely happy. I truly mean it. There's not a trace of sadness in me. I cook my own meals now. All my favorite dishes. I eat until I'm full and even take afternoon naps." I said, "See, I'd even put on weight." My sister pinched my cheeks and said, "You put on some weight and got color in your face now, looking good." While my sister delighted in my improving health, Sebastian's expression grew graver by the day that evening, slightly tipsy from drinking. He stood alone on the balcony smoking. I spotted him when I came out for my bedtime milk. "Seb, get some rest early. I'm heading in first. Stay right there." He stubbed out his cigarette and waved away the lingering smoke from his clothes. As he walked in, he gave me a scrutinizing look after a long pause. He said, "Elara, level with me. What exactly are you trying to do?" His tone made me feel like some villain about to unleash a big move. I asked innocently, "What did I do?" He impatiently tisked, then raised a hand and pushed my forehead. "I raised you myself. I know you better than your own sister. Don't even think about lying to me." I sighed helplessly. What's wrong with me working out daily, studying hard, and eating properly? He frowned. "Excellent. These are all things I've always wanted you to achieve, but seeing you accomplish them all so suddenly. It worries me, Elara. I'm really worried about you." He was definitely drunk. Otherwise, someone as reserved as him would never say such things when sober. I sighed. "Bro, I'm fine. Really, things couldn't be better right now. I'm happy. Genuinely happy." Every single day, Sebastian suddenly pulled me into a hug, patting my back just like when we were kids. He said, "Yeah, no matter what happens, tell me immediately." "Okay, got it." 10. The heavens must be the cruelest existence in this world. Just when you think life will continue happily ever after, reality always strikes without warning, shattering that beautiful illusion. My sister was rushed into the emergency room once again. We were just discussing how to knit a scarf when she suddenly collapsed. Mother slapped me across the face when she arrived. She glared at me, demanding, "Elara, what did you do to Clara?" She cursed. "If anything happens to Clara, I'll make you pay." Her movements were so swift that Sebastian only had time to pull me behind him. He advanced menacingly. I grabbed his arm and shook my head at him with a grim expression. He brushed his fingers against my cheek. "Does it hurt?" I hissed in pain. It really stung. My mother kept cursing, saying my sister was getting sicker and sicker while I was thriving. Asking if I was doing it on purpose. She said I was just getting back at them. She asked why Clara had to suffer instead of me. Her state was clearly off. Sebastian gave her a fleeting glance and pulled me aside. There was no point in arguing with someone so quick to anger. My father held my mother, not sparing me a glance or a word. While my mother still harbored anger and resentment towards me, my father was far more indifferent to him. I seemed to be nothing but air. The last time I saw him in my previous life was at the hospital. Alcohol poisoning. He wasn't surprised at all to see me. He said, "If anyone calls you about me again, just ignore it. I didn't raise you when you were young, and I don't need you to look after me in my old age." He remained perfectly lucid, lucidly ignoring me. Sebastian bought a bottle of ice water for me to put on my face. He comforted me. "It's going to be okay." I nodded, smiling and playing along with him. "Right. Nothing bad will happen. Nothing's going to happen. I know that better than anyone." "Not now." Sebastian took my hand, prying open my tightly clenched fist. My nails had dug deep into my palm, drawing blood. He said, "Don't force a smile if you don't feel like it. It looks awful." It was as if someone had pricked the balloon of my forced composure. I let out fragmented sobs. I'm scared even knowing it's not happening now. I'm still terrified. My sister was successfully resuscitated. She was placed in the ICU and it took a full 2 weeks before she was transferred to a regular ward. During that time, I was denied visitation rights. My father said, "Don't come. If you can't help, don't make her condition worse." I accepted that my sister is still unconscious and there's really nothing I can do to help. There's no need to create unnecessary trouble just to ease my own conscience. She'll be all right. And I've got more important matters to attend to. I commit to regular workouts, dedicated studying, and maintaining a healthy diet. Sebastian grew increasingly withdrawn. The smell of tobacco clung heavier to him. The shadows beneath his eyes deepening. I knew he couldn't sleep. He would always get up in the middle of the night to drink himself numb. Just like in his past life, a sense of suffocation gripped everyone. Thankfully, after the storm, the sun came out and my sister woke up. 11. You were scared, weren't you? My sister asked softly. Stroking my hair, I leaned against her bed and shook my head. No, I knew you'd be all right. You've lost weight again. My sister said, "Here, have a sweet." My sister opened her palm to reveal a fruit drop, her eyes crinkling with a smile. "Doctor, Harrison came by for rounds earlier." I asked him for this, my nose tingled with emotion. It was always like this when we were kids, though she couldn't eat sweets herself. She'd always find ways to coax candy from doctors or nurses, stashing it away just to sneak it to me during visits. "I'm a big kid now," I said, but still took the sweet. My sister chuckled. "No matter how old you get, you'll always be my baby." "Did Mum give you a hard time?" she asked. I shook my head. "No, don't worry. She didn't believe a word of it. Don't hate her. My illness has driven her to the brink of madness. She's not just making things difficult for you. She's making them difficult for everyone, including herself. I know it's like she forbids me from eating meat or gaining weight. She wants me to be thin and sickly, as if that's the only way to be worthy of my sister. But the truth is, she treats herself the same way. She absolutely won't touch anything my sister can't eat. And when my sister is on a liquid diet, she barely drinks anything herself. She's like an ascetic. In her words, Clara is suffering. We can't take her place. But can't we at least be there for her? My sister fell ill while I was with her and she would hit me. My sister fell ill while she was with her and she would hit herself too. She treated everyone unfairly except for her sister. I know, don't worry. Just then, Sebastian arrived. He bought his sister's favorite spider plant compared to colorful flowers. His sister preferred lush greenery. My sister looked at him amused. How did you get even thinner than Alara? I seized the opportunity to tattle. He doesn't eat. He doesn't sleep. Sebastian shot me a glare. Am I a god or something? My sister, however, looked conflicted. She opened her mouth, then turned to me. Alara. I nodded and walked out. I knew what they were going to say. His sister must have been comforting him, telling him not to feel guilty or blame himself. I used to think the emotion tormenting him was longing. It was only later that I realized he seemed to have lived a more desperate life during those years, 12. As the weather gradually turned colder, my sister's health was also slowly recovering. Yet, our parents' spirits were sinking lower and lower. I've seen them argue with doctors more than once, demanding to know when a suitable kidney source could be found. I've also seen them plead with doctors countless times, begging him to save their daughter. Oddly, my sister seemed to find peace. The scarf I'm knitting for her is almost finished. She was thrilled. It'll be perfect for when the weather gets cold. I suddenly blurted out, "Sis, let's go on a trip when spring arrives and everything's in bloom." A trip? Excitement flashed in my sister's eyes. Where to? Where do you want to go? She thought for a moment, then shook her head. I don't know what's good about it. It just seems like everything is good, Sebastian said. The Lake District, is it beautiful there? It must be, he said, pulling out his phone. Let me check. My sister burst out laughing. Are you serious? Count me out, but you can take L. Just send me pictures later. Let's go together. I grabbed her hand. Her smile faded. Mom and Dad won't agree. I said, then I'll elope with you. My sister gave me a look that said it all. Nonsense. She turned to Sebastian. Aren't you going to do something about her? Sebastian looked up. I'm on lookout. We all burst into laughter. The good news arrived on a Thursday. A beautiful day with bright sunshine and a gentle breeze. I was in the middle of solving practice problems when my sister called, choking back tears. She said, Alara, they found a kidney. After the surgery, let's go to the Lake District. Okay. I smiled and said, okay, the timing of this kidney donation couldn't be better. My sister's body is strong enough to handle the surgery. And her condition hasn't deteriorated to the worst-case scenario. Everything happens for a reason. My sister is so happy. She's excitedly talking about all the things she'll do after the surgery. Just like a little kid, her parents watched her with indulgent eyes. For the first time, my presence didn't provoke their harsh words. Sebastian stood at the back, silent as ever. When my sister finally fell asleep, he took my hand and we left the hospital. He didn't say a word the whole way back. Once we were home, he confronted me. Ilara, whose kidney is that? The one for Clara? I sighed helplessly. How should I know? I didn't. The doctors say the donor's identity is confidential. He stared at me, his gaze heavy. How did you know? I let out a sigh. I knew I couldn't keep it from him. Know what? That my kidney actually matched my sister's. It really was you. Sebastian seemed to lose all his strength in an instant. He slumped onto the sofa. Yeah, if you hadn't known beforehand, you definitely would have cried. But today, you've been smiling from beginning to end as if everything was within your expectations. So, all your workouts and healthy eating were just pre-op preparations. Is that it? How could I have missed this? Sebastian let out a mocking laugh. You've really grown up making such a huge decision without consulting anyone. Alara, you're truly something else, but I won't allow it, and neither will Clara. Then don't tell her. She never needed to know, in the first place. Sebastian looked at me. Alara, do you realize what you're doing? I knew exactly what I was doing. And I could see the fear in Sebastian's eyes, just like in our past life back then. I was already 8 months pregnant. I miss my sister so much. When I saw that old laptop in the storage room and used for years, I just had to try it. I wanted to see if there were any clues about my sister hidden inside. I went through every folder from the C drive to the D drive. And finally, I actually found something. It looked like it contained some images that Sebastian had cached from his chats with my sister. There are scenic views, expressive faces, and my sister with an oxygen tube on her nose. She smiled happily and flashed a peace sign at the camera. The report confirming a successful kidney match was also stored there. It happened so fast. I didn't even realize it. It wasn't until I flipped back 3 or 4 pages that I froze. I quickly scrolled back. I remember that report. I recall the results on that report I saw were inconsistent. It's clearly a mismatch. Why does this one above show as a match? What are you looking at? I've been calling you for ages. Why didn't you answer? Sebastian walked in. He saw what I saw. I looked at him helplessly, hoping for an answer. His face filled with terror was the only answer I needed. So, it was true. Why? Why did you lie to me? I could have saved my sister in the ambulance. I kept whispering to him. Why? Why? Why on earth? And that's what I want to ask him now. Why? Why did you and my sister lie to me? I knelt before Sebastian. He looked at me, then reached out and tucked a stray strand of hair behind my ear. He said, Clara's body was already at its breaking point. A kidney transplant wouldn't have fixed it. Even if you had given her your kidney, it would have been a drop in the ocean. Her entire body was failing. But this is your kidney. It's about your whole life. Your long, long life ahead using one of your kidneys to keep her alive for a year or so. We don't think it's worth it. So that's how it is. The knot in my stomach finally loosened. If one of my kidneys could give my sister another 6 months, it would be worth it. If it gave her another year, I'd consider it a bargain. If it gave her 2 more years, I'd be smiling in my sleep. What about you? What will you do? Your health isn't great to begin with. What if something goes wrong during or after the surgery? I'll be fine. My body can handle it. This isn't some shady back alley clinic. If I wasn't fit for surgery, they wouldn't even agree to do it. Starting over. I immediately sought out Dr. Harrison. At first, he denied it. Then I threatened to report him to the GMC. He sighed helplessly. You two sisters really are cut from the same cloth. What happened after that? Sebastian asked. Early to bed, early to rise, watch what you eat, live a healthy life. How great is that? But what if something goes wrong? That's Clara we're talking about. Isn't Clara worth taking that chance? They all think sacrificing one of my kidneys for a year and a half of my sister's life isn't worth it. But that's not how you measure these things. She's my sister, the one who cherished me like gold. If I could have just one more day with her, what wouldn't I give? Sebastian was finally convinced by me. I understood. He truly didn't know how to choose. It seemed like every option was wrong. That's why he was so filled with self-blame and guilt after my sister passed away. 13 Tuesday. A light drizzle. The day my sister was scheduled for her kidney transplant, I couldn't go in with her. All I could do was wait for her outside the operating room through the privacy curtain. I heard my sister's voice. She asked, Dr. Harrison, how long will the surgery take? Dr. Harrison replied. 4 hours at most. It'll be over before you know it. Just get some sleep. There's nothing to be afraid of, she chuckled. I'm not scared. I'm actually quite happy. What are your plans after the surgery? Dr. Harrison inquired. My sister said, we're going to the Lake District for a trip. I promised my younger sister. I closed my eyes contentedly, happy that this life was better than the last. I had a very long dream. I dreamt of the first time I met my sister. I was 4 years old then. My life was dull, seemingly devoid of color before I met her until she handed me a pack of sweets. They came in colorful wrappers, different flavors, sweet and delightful, a sweetness that spread from my mouth all the way to my heart. She said, Elara, have some sweets. Your big sister will always get you more. I held my sister's hand as we walked forward, but she kept flickering in and out of sight. When I couldn't find her, I obediently stayed put, waiting for her to come back for me later. She brought me to a young man's side. She said to me, Elara, this is Brother Seb. From now on, he'll take care of you and protect you in my place. All right, no, I only want my sister. But no one ever taught me how to say no. I was scared of that brother. He never spoke and never smiled until one stormy night. I clutched his sleeve in fear. He suddenly crouched down and said to me, hop on. I'll carry you. He carried me on his back and I held the umbrella, trying my best to keep him from getting wet. But in the end, my own back was soaked through. Seeing this, he looked helpless. As he put his jacket on me, he said, Elara, you need to learn to protect yourself. You are the most important person. I'm the most important. That was the first time anyone had ever said something like that to me. Elara was calling my name. It was the person who would call me to go to school. Pick me up afterwards and take me home. I desperately tried to open my eyes. Thank you, Seb. I opened my mouth, wanting to ask him something, but no sound came out. He reassured me. Clara is doing very well. The surgery was a success. She's still unconscious. But don't worry, get some good rest. I finally breathed a sigh of relief. It took a long time, but I finally found my voice again. When will Big Sister wake up? Sebastian glared at me. Don't even think about it. I felt helpless. She went into surgery without me. And if she wakes up and still doesn't see me, she'll overthink things. Seb frowned. Don't worry, they'll handle it. When Clara went into surgery, she asked where you were. And they told her they were the ones who kept you from coming. They should know by now. Whether they know or not is irrelevant. No one is doing anything for their sake. But what truly bothered Sebastian was that from beginning to end, they didn't even spare a glance for Ilara. I let out an "oh" and felt relieved. No matter what they do, they'd never intentionally hurt my sister. As for their attitude towards me, I couldn't care less. I saw my sister again a week later. Within a week, I was already up and walking, but she was still confined to her hospital bed. Yet, her complexion had significantly improved, and her eyes sparkled with an undeniable joy. She was very happy. "Elle, come here," she said. "Mum promised me that as long as I recover well, she is less than she had been bedridden all winter when spring arrived and the flowers bloomed." She wore the scarf I knitted for her. Sebastian handled our luggage and we set off on our journey to the Lake District. 14 Epilogue Clara's story. Everyone was filled with anticipation when my sister was born. They were all waiting for the umbilical cord blood matching results. Only Clara was looking forward to her sister. Clara was the first to rush to her baby sister's side. The little one was tiny and a bit homely, but Clara adored her as she reached out to touch the newborn. Tiny fingers suddenly grasped hers so soft and warm. Clara smiled happily. Little sister was sent away. Clara asked Mum, "Where did little sister go?" Mum said no one could take care of her. So we sent her to stay with grandparents up north. Elle is such a sensible girl. She knows her condition requires constant care and Dad needs to work. Grandma and Grandpa will surely take good care of little sister. After all, she's absolutely adorable. But when we returned to Grandma and Grandpa's for New Year, my little sister was filthy and smelled awful. She crawled on the floor in threadbare clothes. With no one looking after her, Clara was heartbroken. She tearfully begged Mum to take her little sister home. But Mum said, "She's fine. Don't worry. All kids go through this phase." Helplessness. 7-year-old Clara felt that crushing sense of helplessness. There was nothing she could do, even crying, and tantrums proved futile. She couldn't understand why her mother showed no compassion for her own child. Later, her condition worsened. Endless cycles of chemotherapy and medication left her writhing in pain on the bed, gazing at the lush green grass outside. She said, "Mum, can we name little sister Ilara?" Kept pleading to bring her sister home. Little sister needs to attend reception and stay with her own parents. Clara had so much to say. Mum just said one thing. "She's fine. Don't worry." Clara didn't know what to do. She decided to ask Sebastian. Everyone knew how brilliant Sebastian was. He aced every exam. He must have a way. Later, he said she must prove her worth to return. It's not about what she needs, but what use she has, otherwise she's just dead weight, and dead weight gets discarded. That was the first time Clara confronted her parents' indifference. Sebastian was absolutely right. But Clara was heartbroken. Mum and Dad don't love little sister. She didn't want to accept it, but she had to when she got home. She said to her mum, "I'm so lonely. Mum, please bring sister back. She can play with me and help me with chores." Clara thought that even if her parents didn't like Ilara, she could still take good care of her. But her health was too poor at that time. She was hospitalized with acute enteritis, suffering from severe vomiting and diarrhea. Her parents spent the whole night with her at the hospital and no one remembered Ilara. By the time they got home, Ilara had already collapsed unconscious outside the door. Cold, hungry, dark, and terrified. She shivered and huddled in a corner all night. No one came for her. So Clara handed Ilara over to Sebastian. She hoped Sebastian would cherish her precious little one. For Clara, simply being alive was quite a painful ordeal. Even as a child, she felt that perhaps death would be a release. But then came Ilara. She always wondered if she died, what would happen to her precious baby. Fortunately, Sebastian kept his promise. He stood firmly by Ilara's side. Even when the other side of the scale was Clara herself, she was secretly relieved that Ilara's cord blood wasn't a match for her. If her survival meant preying on Ilara's very essence, she'd rather die sooner than later. There was no way she'd let Ilara sacrifice a kidney just to buy her another year or so, yet Clara still clung to the desire to live. Ilara said she'd help her win a championship. Ilara wants to travel with her. She wants to send Ilara to university. If Ilara is all alone with no one to support her, what if others bully her? Luckily, heaven took pity on her. She accomplished all those things. Sebastian took Ilara and her to the Lake District. What a beautiful place that was. They cycled around Lake Windermere, visited Hawkshead Village, and saw a riot of colors at a National Trust garden. It was her first time sharing a bed with Ilara. Snuggled beside her, tugging at her clothes, and she was so happy she could have laughed in her sleep. Those 10 days were worth a lifetime to her. Elle is incredibly capable. She said she'd ace the top exam for Clara, and she actually did. She chose the best university. And Clara was the one who took her there. Clara was a bit worried. She wasn't pretty. She was bony and sickly. She was afraid of embarrassing Ilara yet. Elle introduced her to her flatmates without any hesitation. Clara breathed a sigh of relief. She shared the snacks she had bought with everyone, hoping they would be kind to Ilara. She wasn't good with words, so all she could tell them was, "Our Ilara is quiet and introverted. Please look out for her." What other regrets did Clara have? Not being able to stay with Elle for long. Not being able to see her get married and have children and her parents. She didn't know what to do about them. She had considered mending the relationship between Ilara and her parents, but that wouldn't be fair to Ilara if she were to leave a last wish for her parents. Besides hoping they live long and well, it would be for them not to bother Elle. They didn't raise Elle when she was young, so they shouldn't expect her to support them in their old age. 15. Side story, Sebastian's chapter. Though Sebastian carried the Sterling surname, he wasn't the Sterling's biological child. He was adopted by the Sterling family from Care. As a Care kid, he knew his place in the world. Be obedient, sensible, and don't make a fuss. Don't wish for things that aren't meant for you. In the beginning, for the first year, the Sterling family parents treated him so well that he almost lost himself later. When the Sterling family parents had their own biological child, their relationship with him became purely a matter of obligation. Sebastian was very grateful that he had stayed true to himself. It would be even more painful to gain something only to lose it again. So when he first saw Clara, he felt a twinge of envy. Clara was truly blessed. She had the most loving parents in the world. His first interaction with Clara happened when she approached him. Clara offered him a sweet. "I'm sick and can't eat this. Could you taste it for me and tell me what it's like?" Sebastian hesitated for a long time, but finally took it under Clara's eager gaze. Clara excitedly asked him, "Is it sweet?" Sebastian nodded. "Sweet? How sweet is it?" "Sweet as honey." "Honey, like beeswax honey." "I've never had it. Is it really sweet?" Sebastian hadn't actually tasted it either, but he still nodded. "Very sweet. So, does eating something sweet make you feel happy?" Happy? Sebastian thought. Probably. The next day, Clara came over again, this time with a jam tart. "Could you taste this tart for me? Is it sweet or savory?" The third day was a piece of cake. "Taste it. Does it taste the same as yesterday's tart?" It wasn't that she couldn't eat it. She was clearly using her inability to eat as an excuse to pity him. "Are you pitying me?" Clara blinked in confusion. "You mean these snacks? I genuinely can't eat them because I'm sick. I was saving them for my little sister, but our parents refused to bring her here. I gave them to you because I was worried they'd expire. But don't worry, they're still within the expiration date." Clara was distressed, unsure how she could possibly bring her sister to live with her. Her tears were useless. Her pleas were useless. And reasoning with them was useless, too. She even ended up in the hospital once due to extreme emotional distress, but her parents still wouldn't budge. Sebastian listened quietly as Clara recounted her story after she finished. Sebastian said, "It has to be you who needs her, not her who needs you. What Clara didn't understand. Sebastian explained, she has to be valuable to come back. It's not about what she needs to gain, but what use she is. Otherwise, she's just a burden, and burdens are always discarded. Clara was deeply saddened after hearing Sebastian's words after a long silence. She nodded. I understand. The child he'd never met tugged at Sebastian's heartstrings. He'd expected the child to have a hard life, but not this hard. That child was born for Clara's sake, yet her umbilical cord blood wasn't a match. The doctor said this was quite common. But Clara's family couldn't accept it. Their first thought was that the baby had been switched. How ridiculous. They had tested the umbilical cord blood, yet they still believed the child was wrong. Clara's parents even obsessively went as far as to get a paternity test. But the elders back home just don't buy into these so-called scientific certifications. The results speak for themselves. Everyone else's biological children are fine. So why not that kid? Even if she's biologically their child, she's not one of them at heart. So giving her a bite to eat and not letting her starve to death is already more than enough. The child was raised by the grandparents up north like an animal, a 3.5-year-old child who could barely even speak. Sebastian couldn't bring himself to recall the Alara he first knew. Every time he thought of it, a dense, throbbing pain would spread through his heart. So, when Clara entrusted her to him, Sebastian agreed without a moment's hesitation. Someone once asked him if he truly loved Clara or Alara. Given a second chance, things should turn out differently this time. For people like them, simply surviving is already a struggle. Love was something they had never even considered. The three of them huddled together for warmth, supporting each other as they moved forward, and that was enough to satisfy him. But Clara's body was already at its breaking point. Clara said it wasn't worth sacrificing one of Alara's kidneys for a body like hers. Sebastian remained silent in tacit agreement. Yet watching Clara's gradual decline filled him with utter despair. Clara pleaded with him, "Promise me you'll take care of Alara, look after her for life." This went without saying. No request from Clara was even necessary. She was the little girl he had raised himself, and he would undoubtedly take care of her for the rest of his life, never missing a single moment. But the little girl grew up, and she started to have her own ideas. She said trading a kidney for 1.5 years of Clara's life was absolutely worth it. And Sebastian couldn't even bring himself to try and talk her out of it. He knew that once the young lady found out, it would be beyond his control. 1 year or so, to be precise, 1.5 years. The young lady was sitting on the balcony and Sebastian was so scared he stopped breathing. But the young girl just smiled and said, 1.5 years, and I've made a profit. Sebastian pleaded, "Alara, please be good. Don't move." The young girl looked back at him. "Brother Seb, don't be scared. I won't kill myself. I still need to be here for you if even I die. What will you do?" Sebastian trembling stepped forward and carried the little girl down from the balcony. He said, "Yes, stay with me. You have to stay with me." From now on, they would be the only two left in this world.